Golf's no different from hockey. Requires talent, self-discipline.
Golf requires goofy pants and a fat ass. You should talk to my neighbor, the accountant, probably a great golfer, huge ass.
How do you measure yourself with other golfers? By height.
It's a very, very special honor.
I'm Paula Kramer, and you're listening.
Well, we're waiting.
Hi, this is Martin Cove, a.k.a. John Kreese from Cobra Kai, and you're listening to...
Quiet, please.
Let the word go out from here across the land. Let Daddy Noonan approve.
Hi, boys. Nice day for golf, eh? Quiet, please. Oh, you got secrets, eh?
Hey, this is Shooter McGavin. You're listening to the...
Hey, you guys. Hey, we're trying to have a podcast over here.
And I don't know about you golf fans, but I have Masters hangover. It is real. It is legit. And this is Alan Depew, and this is the Quiet Please Golf Podcast. I am joined by my panel this week. To my lower left, produce podcaster in golf, Christian Nazamus.
Hello, boys.
Hello. In your own home, by the way.
First time in a while.
Yeah, it is. Immediately to my right, Boston Bob Baldessari.
The tip of the cap. And a cheers to our good friend Andy for his senior qualifying.
Ooh, we must learn more. Mr. Andy Hydorn, don't be that guy. But we would like to all be that guy.
Do not be that guy.
All right, boys.
Bobby, I love your green Masters hat. That's pretty awesome.
Fits the subject tonight.
It does fit the subject. This is the Masters Recap Show. As always, we love to hear from anybody. If you are following us on YouTube or one of our social media channels, please do not hesitate to chime in, throw a question in there. We'll try to get up on the screen, keep it clean, and we'll answer some questions. So our man BE was walking the hills this past week, and I think it took a little bit out of him.
It take a lot on anybody.
What is it, 115-foot elevation drop, Bobby, or something like that?
Yeah, well, coming down 10, it's like a ski slope, but I wonder if it was the hills or maybe the competition to get the gnome, the garden gnome. That could have been hand-to-hand combat.
It was a battle for the gnomes this year. Is there a truth to the rumor? Is this the last year of the gnome?
Cannot deny or confirm the reports. We'll know more next week. We're going to have Jim McCabe join us. He's an esteemed golf writer, first with the Boston Globe, then Golf Week, and he was on site. Couldn't join us tonight, but he's at Hilton Head this week, and then he'll be back in Beantown next week, and he'll be joining us with some inside info.
Excellent.
Boston Globe writer, right, Bobby?
Boston Globe. Yep.
So I'm going to throw this over to you. We do it now at the beginning of every show. Bobby, teed you up on this one. They talked about it on the telecast the other day. I don't know if anybody caught it.
They did, and I had another. I want to throw two out. One is one's a true false, so it could be a 50-50. What I wanted to talk about was true or false. Augusta National had planned for a 19th hole, true or false, but we do like something that came up on the telecast about who's won. They were talking about crystal. When you win crystal at the Masters, making an eagle, different things they do. And I think we all know who the winner, who has won the most crystal at Augusta over the years, but who is number two? Who's in second place for winning the most crystal at Augusta National Golf Club Masters Invitational Tournament?
I know the answer because I was watching.
I don't know the answer, but I'm going to save my guess till later, and I will not be looking it up.
Neither of which are in the Christian Nazamus era.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to look that one up.
All right. Backdrop is appropriate. Who wants to go?
Well, where do you start?
I mean, seriously, where do you start?
Okay, I think
there's so many storylines.
For the guy who picks Rory to win every major, I was finally right. And I got to tell you, I was like behaving poorly in front of the television watching that tournament on Sunday. And, we've talked about this before where in tournament golf, you're walking the edge of disaster all the time. And Rory walked over the edge several times, and he's so damn good that he was able to make equally as amazing shots on the other side and come back. And, I felt like he won that tournament on Sunday 4 different times.
He won, he lost, he won, he lost.
Yeah.
He won.
Yep.
Yeah. And to me, like the worst one of all was standing in the middle of the 18th fairway after hitting a drive like he hit, which was the best drive he hit all day, the best drive he hit on 18 all week, 125 yards with a gap wedge in his hand. And it just blows my mind that he doesn't get that on the green. It blows my mind. And I'll just finish and I'll let you guys kind of go on about this too. I just think if Rory shoots 3 under and doesn't win the Masters by 8 shots, no big deal. If Rory lost this one, it might have been the end of his
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, done.
Yeah.
How do you take it?
I was watching this going, if a Hollywood script came up, you wouldn't believe it. It was Hollywood type of scenario that people wouldn't believe it, but it happened. And that's the great thing about sports and live sports, and the numbers, the viewership was way up there. And I thought when he made the turn, I think there's 3 golf swings he makes. If he does them, he wins. I thought if he hits it reasonable off of 10, that's a big deal. You got the Demons from a few years ago. Hits it off of 10, I'm like, check that. I thought the tee shot on 12. And when he had that little wedge and he was standing over the wedge on 13, I thought, this is on the green. He's going to win this thing. I could not believe it. And in the press conference, he goes, that little shot, I tend to pull a little. Great. Pull hook it. Don't hit it in the creek. Anything left.
I don't want to hear any explanation of what happened there. Like that was the biggest.
That was the worst shot of the century by
biggest
Rory.
choke.
I made the comment, Christian, and this again may predate you a little bit. My apologies. I made the comment. It is the worst shot in professional golf since Mark Calcavecchia hit the hosel shank on 17 at the Ryder Cup.
Fair.
At Kiowa. I mean, how do you miss it 20 yards?
Well, at that point in the tournament, he should never even have gone for the flag. And I don't care how close you are to the green. Play 20 feet left of the pin, take your 2-putt and par, and coast.
You got a slope over there that brings the ball
100%.
down off the hill.
1,000%.
I go back to the start of the round because I think the double on the first kind of put him in his own little mood, right? Meaning like it kind of calmed him down in a weird way. I think he got the jitters out, and I think he really kind of settled himself into the round. But I mean, what a roller coaster over 18 holes for him. What an awesome performance. I also don't want to give all the praise to Rory. What a phenomenal performance by Justin Rose too.
Amazing.
I mean, what an unbelievable 66 in the final round. I mean, my God, he played amazing. And that's why I was worried about them going to a playoff because, I thought Rose had the edge personally going into that. But everybody in the golf world was rooting for Rory, rightfully so. But
Rory said this, though. Walking down or riding down, whatever they did to the 18th tee, Rory said Harry told him on Tuesday, night, if you would have told me we were riding down to tee it off in a sudden death playoff, I'd have taken it 100 times out of 100. And I think that's the mental reset, right? That allowed him to pipe another drive and hit
I won't say which one was in our little text thread, but one of us did throw out there that maybe he needed a new caddy. But that was me. That was the best caddy words ever spoken.
Yeah.
Put it back in perspective.
I would say that it was probably the most mental part of Rory. Like that was the most mental round of golf that Rory probably has ever played in his career, if I'm being honest. he had to stay but the thing that's different about Rory, I think this time around, especially this past Masters, was that he recovered very well. In the past, he wouldn't recover as quickly or as well as he did. I think he recovered very well with the mistakes that he made, and especially in the final round, the double on the first, the double on 13, how he recovered coming in. I think that was a big momentum builder, I think, for Rory moving forward. I look ahead to the season, too, that we're about to watch.
So, Christian, you said the double on one. I've heard some other people say that. I personally think, he obviously tried to blow it over the bunker again. But in the presser, they asked him what was the best shot he hit of the day, the entire final round.
Yep.
The second shot on number 3.
Right.
And because knocks it up there stiff, has the birdie putt, makes the birdie putt, and I think that finally settled him down and got his head back in the game. Not to mention the fact that he took the lead.
Yeah.
I think I text this group, or if not this group, one of my other groups. But
are you cheating on us?
Maybe. on they don't have a podcast. So. On Saturday night, I said Rory either needs to pull away early or he needs to lose his lead early, because if he stayed one ahead, it was going to be a lot tougher for him. And as it turns out, he loses his lead right away, and then he comes on, and then he loses it again, then he comes on. So it ended up being way less simple than that. But I think it certainly helped him to be kind of on the downside of the leading score there for just a minute. Let him get into it.
There's literally 1,000 storylines in the final round alone we could just talk about. But to touch on that point, Paul McGinley on air after round 1, after he butchers away 4 shots in the final 4 holes, which, by the way, he forgot he could have replayed the shot on number 15.
Which blows my mind. Yeah.
So anyway, he McGinley made the same point, Andy. Clearly, you are of that same mental analogy of Paul McGinley. We should put you out on Golf Live out there with Randall.
I was thinking that.
We'll make a trade.
There.
But no, what he said was that Rory's a better chaser. He's better when he's scrappy than trying to protect the lead.
Yeah, some players are like that. They get that mentality playing from behind. I was going to say that little shot on 13 and go back there real quick. I was sitting there. I made a comment. Rory should put his grip like Ed Fergal. Remember?
Ed Fiore.
Ed Fiore, yeah.
Yeah.
The grip, and just I still can't believe that shot. That's going to stay with me.
They called him the grip.
The grip.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players. I mean, every sport, even horses, some want to be at the front, some come from behind. You've got your players that just have that different mindset when they're from behind. I know some events I've almost liked it, making a bogey in the first hole. It just sort of settled me and pissed me off. And, not that I wouldn't like to birdie the first hole, but, we've all played tournament golf, and sometimes it's just that it's that mindset. And, I think it was Bill Simmons. It was a tweet or something. He goes, golf's the most amazing thing where you're trying to stay mentally calm, yet physically you're all out. It's like this really crazy juxtaposition.
Yeah. And look, I feel like not necessarily the same as Paul McGinley, where I'm thinking that he's a better chaser than he is a protector. I'm just thinking he needed to be comfortable. So if he stretched his lead to 5 shots after the first couple holes, I'm thinking he's comfortable. If he lost it, then I'm thinking he's probably not comfortable, but in a different mindset. So
or say 4 shots with 7 to play.
Yeah. Like I said, it turned into a multiple chapter book there, but just crazy.
Christian, so literally maybe the worst golf shot in professional golf history, followed by what a pair of cojones on number 15 to pull off that shot.
Well, I don't know how you go from hitting such a terrible wedge shot to hitting arguably one of the best shots that I've ever watched him, for me personally. The way you had to hook it around the corner to 15, but then obviously I know you missed the putt, still made birdie, but like it just kind of brought back Tiger days in his dominance, for me at least. It was an incredible shot to hit. And then obviously backing it up on 16, birdieing 17 with that unbelievable 9-iron to about 2 feet. And then, we all know what happened on 18, but at the end of the day, he got the job done. And I think this is going to just skyrocket him in a different way. I think his confidence this was the tournament. We all saw it on 18 after he won. This was the one that he always wanted to win, rightfully so. And we saw him with the emotion that came out of him on the green, crying and everything else that came with it. But I do think that this is going to build a lot of confidence in Rory that we haven't seen. He's got to be a favorite going into the PGA less than a month. Quail Hollow won there 4 times. Got to be a heavy favorite. You got to hit the ball farther. I'm curious to see how he kind of responds after this as well.
The Open Championships in Ireland.
Opening. He could honestly, be honest, with all 4 of these majors this year, these all set up very well.
Don't take my 18th.
All right. I'm just saying, looking at the courses, though, they do set up very well for Rory this entire season. So I think this is going to build, in all seriousness, a lot of confidence for him. So
that was a comment that I've heard more than once. Not to steal your thunder, Andy. Like, it does set up pretty good on the one hand for this year, but now that the complete weight is off his shoulders, hey, could he win 4, 5, 8? I mean, like, now it's nice freewheeling it. But I mean, I think it's a massive weight that he can sort of relax and just go play golf.
Yeah, and I'm not going to knock Rory obviously at the PGA. For me personally, I may be rooting for Jordan Spieth because we could have potentially back-to-back Grand Slam winners. If Jordan wins the PGA, he obviously wins the Grand Slam. That would be an unbelievable storyline. You get to see 2 Grand Slams.
Once he stops doing all this.
It's going to be a long road, but or a long shot. But I do think that potentially he's capable if he can make some putts. It's not really set up for him on the distance side of the ball, but he has arguably one of the best short games, of the last 5-10 years. So if he can start making some putts, you never know.
I'll just say it. Jordan's never winning another one. I just don't see it. He's in his head.
I think he wins one. He's going to win another one.
Let's finish up with Rory in the final round. How many here thought after Justin threw it in there that Rory, it was over already? Right there on the moment.
Are you talking about the playoff?
In the playoff?
Yeah, in the playoff. As soon as Justin hit that shot in there, I was like, oh.
No, it wasn't. It was 15 or 18 feet. So.
Well, I thought if anything they would go to a playoff because I didn't think that was a very difficult putt on 18 for Rose. I thought it was a pretty straightforward putt overall, and he was rolling the ball very well that day. So I thought that his chances of making that were very high. I thought they were both going to make it, and we go to another playoff hole.
Somebody else had that putt in the last 10 years. I remember.
Wasn't that Sandy Lyle's putt?
Looked like Sandy Lyle's putt. Yeah.
Was it?
Well, it's a little dance.
Yeah.
I that first go around that 18th hole last shot, that it reminded me of Greg Norman back in '86 when he flared it right, way right.
Except he was hitting a 4-iron.
Right, exactly. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? And
right.
It hit it.
Right.
I was thinking the same thing, but it was almost like that was a swing to get it on the green for par. The last one in the playoff was I got it fired. Again, mindset and
totally. We saw in live action protect, attack. Every time he had to protect, he vomited all over himself. Every time he needed to attack, he showed up like a gladiator.
Yeah.
Like it's unbelievable how much that played out for him. Incredible.
Totally agree.
So I want to dive into some of the other storylines, but before I do, and this is actually one of the storylines, Masters final round averaged 12.7 million viewers on CBS. makes it the most watched golf telecast on any network in 7 years. What say you, gentlemen?
And it peaked to almost 20 million for that right around 7 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
Not surprising in the slightest. I mean, if anybody else I feel like was in the lead outside of Rory, I don't think it would have been that kind of numbers. I think Rory has a big factor in that, being that there was a Grand Slam potential. But I'm not surprised in the slightest on that. Everybody, I love the Masters. Everybody that is a golfer loves the Masters. I mean, it's one of the best weeks of the entire year. I know their viewership is always going to be crazy, but I think Rory again had a big play in that.
So let's talk about some of the other supporting cast. Justin Rose, we already gave a shout out to. Class act. I mean, one of the most classy guys in the game. Yep. And bar of 75, in the third round, right, is he putting on the green jacket?
But again, like that's such an easy cop out way to approach it, right? Because everybody is facing different circumstances, whether you're in it, whether you're, tied, chasing, ahead, it makes you play differently. So, the 75 was his reaction to having the lead, right?
Yep.
And the 66 was his reaction to, I'm out of it now, let's chase. So it's too easy to look at the numbers and say, oh, if this didn't happen, well, if that didn't happen, none of the rest of it happens the way it did.
I think it would have changed a little bit dynamic too if he doesn't bogey 17 and miss that short little par putt. I think it could be going to 12 under and 18. Obviously, he birdied it, but I think it does change the dynamic. I think I would have been very curious to see how Rory would have reacted to that being potentially at 13, having to get a couple birdies coming in. But, it panned out the way it did.
Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to give you 3 names, rapid fire. Here you go, Andy. 3 names, rapid fire. Bryson. PGA Tour need him more than he needs PGA Tour?
Yeah, I say it does. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Bryson later, but
okay.
Yeah, I think
Patrick Reed, surprising showing.
Who cares?
Okay. Joaquin Neiman.
I mean, I love Joaquin Neiman. He should be playing on the PGA Tour.
And there's our live report.
Hey, can we talk about live for a little bit, or we want to wait on that?
Hey, you can do anything you want. This is your live report.
So, it's got to be the live report as it, played out at the Masters, right? Is it any more painfully obvious that the 2 guys that went to live, who were the best players or in the conversation as the best player in the world, went to live for the reason of not really wanting to do the professional golf rigor anymore? Dustin Johnson and Cam Smith both are non-factors anymore.
Yeah,
both of them are. I know DJ, everyone knows DJs. Cam Smith is too. Cam Smith hasn't shown up to a major since he left live, or maybe he had one decent showing.
No, he didn't. He won the Open Championship, took the money, and ran.
But his reasoning was, I want to be home. I'm homesick. This and that, which is fine. But again, it just goes back to the fact that live does not give you the training and the preparation that the best players in the world get. Live doesn't give you that, right? So you asked the question about Bryson. Does the PGA Tour need Bryson more than Bryson? Is such a unique circumstance to me, like in the sense that Bryson has found his niche with all the YouTube stuff, and his association with live allows him to do these things that he wants to do, and he still goes out and shows up for every major in a big way. So, I mean, he's the one who's different, but all the rest, I mean, look at Brooks. Like, it's just.
I was a little surprised that he didn't show up this weekend. Rahm clearly didn't have his game.
But Rahm hasn't had his game since he's been at Liv. He's been irrelevant since he left.
And everybody was talking about Rahm coming into the league.
I'm sorry. Like,
was on his game.
I'm not trying to be rude about it, but like he lost. Everybody has lost their edge. Like, good for Patrick Reed. He came in top 5, whatever. But like, he won here. He knows the golf course. Like, have him go to the PGA. Have him go to the Open. I guarantee you he misses the cut.
But that's my point, Christian. Though, is that that John?
I
Rahm,
agree with you. 100%.
Everybody was saying John Rahm's on his game. He's this. He's that. He's ready. He's going to contend. No.
Yeah, you could be on your game on Liv and go play against the non-factors, the Dustin Johnsons, the Phil Mickelsons of the world that people just don't care about. And then you can come back on the tour and play against the Scotties, the Rorys, the Xander Schauffele's and get your ass kicked.
Well, I had actually taken Phil as my dark horse, actually, largely not because of one, he's been playing better again on Liv, but his knowledge of the golf course. I actually thought, nope.
No. You look at the leaderboard and you have a couple Liv golfers. You have Rahm, you have Bubba Watson. I haven't heard Bubba Watson's name in probably over 2 years. Nobody has. Unless you watch Liv on a consistent basis, you don't hear Bubba's name anymore. Maybe you'll get him being televised just because he's a Masters champion, but outside of him, Reed, even John Rahm, Terrell Hatton, like, you don't hear these names anymore. Bryson is the only factor when it comes to, and I think Bryson personally is saving Liv, and he's getting a lot of viewers to watch Liv personally just because of his figure today.
And Bryson ritualistically finishes in the top 20 and Liv.
Bobby, I have a question for you. Patrick Reed shirks his red clothing on the final round and goes to the Black Knight, the Grim Reaper. Was he sending a message?
A little Gary Player style. I don't know. He probably, Christian's point, he's won there. He's probably feeling pretty comfortable there. I give him credit for playing some pretty solid golf. It's interesting. Rory was talking about the Ryder Cup and, saying Europe's feeling pretty good. So they're already chirping about the Ryder Cup, which is interesting. But yeah, I feel really bad, Cam Smith especially, but I just thought he was really on the verge of really doing some great things in golf. And, that's sad. That's just a sad thing right there.
He doesn't have the stomach for it.
Nope.
And hey, look, it's hard for us to judge a 20-something-year-old kid who is, thousands and thousands of miles away from his home for almost the whole year. So, I'm not criticizing him, but I'm definitely, pointing out that the reason he's struggling is because that's what he wanted. He didn't want to be away from home anymore.
He wanted to fish.
Yep.
Without question. All right. So earlier in the week, a couple other little storylines. Let's just give them their due. Bobby, you're our resident historian. So Bernard.
Oh yeah, boy, that was he's so stoic and that German facade and everything, and for him to be so emotional. Some of those interviews I watched, it was really touching. He won the Masters twice. Just really did a lot of things, I think, for Europe, especially obviously Germany, but Europe to help get more players out there. Augusta does an amazing job over the years picking those players that can come in and really perform at a high level. Back when you didn't think about the European players as we do now. And I mean, we've talked about this before. I mean, Bernhard was in that Ryder Cup at Kiowa, and he missed that putt.
He missed the big putt at the end.
Yeah. I mean, for him to come back from
against
that,
who? Against who? Who was it against?
Yeah, he was.
Was it Curtis?
Nope.
No.
Raymond?
No. Irwin? No.
Hale Irwin.
Hale Irwin, right?
Hale Irwin.
Yeah, but for him to come back from that, all the times the yips, I mean, just the guy's amazing competitor, amazing longevity, 41 years, and I was really pulling for him to make the cut. I got to admit, I just thought that would be a great story. But That's the special thing about the Masters too, the way they just handle all these things. I mean, I was going to talk about it later, but that freaking event never disappoints. When you go there, it's the only thing in life that will exceed your expectations. It just does not disappoint. Everything they do.
Christian, any thoughts on Mr. Longer?
Well, obviously, I mean, it was sad to see him go. As far as regarding the Masters and everything, I mean, he's just been an incredible part of the game. He's dominated the Champions Tour for I couldn't even tell you how long, but he's such an iconic figure for golf in general. And I think that it's always sad seeing players like that are, kind of like retiring from Augusta. But I'm curious to see what he's done for the game, if they're going to end up incorporating him somehow into potentially a first tee shot down the road. I don't know, but yeah, I would love to see that if possible. But we'll see what happens. Because I love Jack, but obviously with Jack going there, it's definitely playing a little bit of a factor or a toll on Jack doing it year in and year out. He still does it, still hits the ball out there, probably farther than Allen at times. But I'm just saying.
That was a backhanded slap right there, Alan.
Moving over to Freddie Couples. Got any thoughts on that, Andy Hydorn?
Look, I have a bigger thought on this whole subject matter. I think more than any other golf course in any other tournament, experience plays a larger role in the Masters than any other tournament. And you have these young, bombers out there that are playing in their first, second, third Masters, whatever, that can't beat Fred Couples or Bernard Langer or Zach Johnson. And you think Augusta rewards distance. I mean, Bernard Langer's ball speed is like 153 miles an hour. And the fact that these guys are out there beating all these other great contemporary players shows you just how much experience in playing that golf course matters. What Couples did on day one, shoot 71. I mean, that's incredible.
He knocks it in on 14 with his 7 hybrid.
Yeah.
Right. Other guys are hitting 9-iron, and these guys are hitting hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was incredible to watch.
Next year in my Masters pool, I'm going to pick a couple old guys on my 4th and 5th round picks because they make the cut. The Zach Johnsons of the world, They make the cut. It's amazing.
What performance he put on in the featured group on Saturday, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Playing with John Rahm. Let's talk about another one. I just want to keep talking about different names. Did they overperform or underperform? How about one of my picks, which was Mr. Aubert.
Yep.
And Telly Butcher's 17 and 18. Excuse me, 18. I mean,
he was right there, tied for the lead on 16.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna make a very bold prediction already for next Masters is that Ludvig's gonna win. And the 2 times that he has played, he's finished second and also 7th. He knows the golf course, he loves the golf course, plays very well there, and he also hits the ball a country mile. So I think that he is going to win next year. I'm already gonna make a pick. So
and again, his finish this year was way down. I mean, because of the last 2 holes, right? He played 70 holes perfectly, and
he was four over in the last 2 holes.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know if any of us really do. Did he look at the scoreboard when he was on 17? Did he know where he was? Did it change any of his thought pattern? I mean, he missed a fair share of putts also.
Yeah. No, every golfer's different. Some guys like looking at the leaderboard, other guys don't. I mean, I know all caddies do, because they want to know where they are. So I don't know if Ludvig's more of a leaderboard guy or not, but could have played a factor into the last 2 holes, unfortunately.
He missed the cut the week before at the Valero too.
Yep.
I can definitely see him winning the Masters. He's got it all that you would think he could do it, and he dresses really well. Like,
Yes, he
like
does.
his color scheme.
It could
Better,
be any
better than
tournament.
Jason Day.
Oh,
I mean, he's knocking on the door for any tournament. It's not any major. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised in a few weeks when he wins the PGA.
I saw somebody post on like social, what's his resting heart rate? Like 12?
Somebody else said, I don't know if it was on social, but they compared him to like Ivan Drago or the Terminator or something like that. But like a nice one. Because he's always like smiling and but he's got that kind of look to him, you know.
I thought my sort of dark horse pick was Shane Lowry, and another solid tournament. He always plays well in the majors. I don't know if I think he sort of has a game for Augusta, but probably not perfect. But it's just nice to see him play well. And although I liked his interview when they were asking about Rory, and he's like, hey, I'm trying to win this tournament. Enough about Rory, even though he's my good mate.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think it was unfortunately a hard fourth round for him, and I don't know if that interview played a factor or not into what. I mean, he didn't play well on Sunday, unfortunately, but I'm a big Shane guy.
The interview wasn't that long either.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, Andy, did you think what we were probably all thinking about within the context of the tournament, the one Spaniard guy being a don't be that guy at Augusta?
Yeah. That wasn't my don't be that guy, but now that you mention it, probably not a bad candidate for don't be that guy.
Yeah, especially at Augusta.
Yeah.
Are you referring to the young man that decided that number 13 Creek looked like a appropriate location?
It's just like a guy playing golf on some course and forget that his home's around and this and that. Like, I can't wait. I got to go. Yeah.
Well, that. There wasn't a lime green porta potty out there. No.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Christian, other thoughts from Augusta?
I mean, hats off to Rory. It's something that we don't get to see often anymore. As a Grand Slam winner, so I'm very happy for him that he was finally able to do it. This was like the demon that was living inside of him, and I think it finally got released from him after he made that putt on 18. So happy for him and his team, and we'll see if he can continue to hopefully chase down Tiger and Jack at that point. I don't think so, but you never know.
Is Scotty just off, or is he just? I mean, Phil did make the statement: Scotty will not win before the Ryder Cup.
Phil's not going to win a tournament until I'm dead. So I mean,
well, I would say I'd bet Phil some money on that, but it's probably not the appropriate thing.
Might have to wait to get paid.
Yeah, Scotty. I would be shocked if Scotty doesn't win before the Ryder Cup.
I think Scotty's slightly off. I'm not going to say he's perfect right now, but it doesn't mean that he's not going to win. I mean, he's going to win multiple times before Phil wins his next tournament on Live. So go for it.
There was a time on Sunday where Scotty was within 2 of the lead, I think.
Yeah, there was.
I believe it was 16-17 rain right there, and because Jim Dance made that comment, and here's Scheffler only 2 back or 1 back or something like that. Yeah. Yep. Never disappoints. Here you go, Mr. Historian. The Nicholas pin.
Yep.
Like it? Mm-hmm. Not like it? Like it down low?
It's just Augusta being the reverence to history, and I like all that, and I get it. The 50 years later, but it's just something iconic about what they've been doing for the last X amount of decades with the traditional Sunday pin placement that just brings so much excitement in. And I was like, well, maybe they could have done that in the 3rd round and gone back to the recent history, the pin placement on 16, because that's already creating such iconic history in and of itself right now. So, I think, you get it. It's a little different, but I know we were all texting about that. I was, when I saw what it was, like, oh yeah, I get it. I remember that putt. I don't remember I was a kid, but I remember we've all seen it. I don't know. It's sort of mixed feelings, but I love the fact that Augusta's going to do that. They're going to applaud and remember the history.
And look, I think you talk about events and venues again, right?
Yep.
Augusta is so much a part of everybody's, golf wisdom and knowledge that they can change a pin. Like, where all the, like 16, where the 4 pins are. It's that front right, that back middle, that front lower, front, and the lower back. Like those are the 4 pins on 16. And you know where all the pins are on all the other greens too, right? So it's not taking that much away for me, because you always know, like there's such iconic pin locations on those greens that whether it happens on Sunday or Saturday or Friday, it's where it's going to be, what's going to happen. I think the pin on 16
par threes, right, Andy? I'd say more so on the par threes or the other iconic holes. Like 13's always, you always know where 13 roughly is going to be. You always know where 18 is going to be. Two. Yeah, you always know where 2 is going to be. They have moved 11 around before.
Yeah, but you always know where 3 is going to be.
Right. Short on the left side. Tempt you to drive, and I love the idea of them moving the box up. But these guys get longer. Yep. Tempt you to drive it, and you're going to be faced with that shot. Rory, if that ball kicks straight, he's on the right edge of the green. It does, and it catches the hill, and then it rolls probably 40 yards dead left.
And it's such a hard shot. Such a hard shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One last thing I wanted to touch upon with Phil really quick was that, it's so funny that Phil calls Scotty out for not winning a tournament, or not having him not win a tournament for the Ryder Cup. Phil's been on LIV since 2022? I think we're coming up on 3 years. Phil hasn't won a single event on LIV since he's been on there. His best finish was a solo third in the 2024 Hong Kong event. So it's funny that he's calling one of the best players in the world, who can clearly beat him at any given moment, out like that, when he hasn't even won against some of the subpar players in the world.
Yeah, well, Phil's got other fish to fry.
True.
I have given a lot of thought lately to coffee for wellness, though. Not gonna lie.
Fair enough. Cool.
All right, Andy. Where is it? There it is. Boom.
Okay, so this is true in all sports, and it happens to be true in golf too. People that love to bitch and moan about the broadcast just drives me absolutely nuts. Like people on social are criticizing CBS, they're criticizing Jim Nantz. Like, who are these people? Like, who literally are these people? And don't you have anything better to have an opinion on other than the broadcast? You don't think that the most prepared broadcast team in the history of golf does the Masters? 100%. And people find the need to bitch about the broadcast of the Masters is just ridiculous. And I'll take it a step further. It's the same people that hate Joe Buck are the same people that hate Tony Romo or whatever. It just seems so ridiculous that people want to bitch about that, because CBS does a great job. Jim Nantz does an unbelievable job. It's just silly that people want to complain about everything and they pick that.
Andy, that needs to be don't be that audience.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Yep.
All right, Bobby, reset the stage for anyone that did not hear it earlier.
Okay, well, the true and false, did the Augusta National Golf Club ever have a 19th hole? True or false?
When you look at that space between 9 and 10, that
I'm gonna say
whole
true.
empty space down there, you wonder what was ever there.
My educated guess is true.
I would say true too.
True.
It is true. But it actually, the green that was designed by Alistair McKenzie is in essence the practice putting green now. But it was a short little par 3 that was going to finish the bets, and a little bit of history there. But the other bigger teaser, the bigger one was of all the crystal that has been won ever at Augusta National for the Masters, who's in second place? And I think our esteemed maestro might have a clue about that one.
My guess would have been Fred Couples.
Christian?
Don't look at me. I have no idea. I couldn't even give you a guess.
AD?
Raymond Floyd.
Never would have guessed that.
Raymond Floyd.
Who was first?
Jack.
The Bear.
Actually, here's what's remarkable. So they threw that out there on one of the morning I was at the golf course. I'm working in the office, got the telecast going in the background. I'm listening to this. And they threw that out there and they said, you're talking about giving crystal. And well, who has the most crystal? And they're like, well, obviously it's probably Jack. Jack's got 26 crystal vases or whatever, the cups that they give out. Floyd's only 4 behind him. He had 22.
Where's Tiger?
Well, he took off the how many years for injuries and, other challenges that life threw at him.
Fair.
Nine irons.
Yeah.
Fire hydrants.
Short irons.
I just want to put this one up again because I like it.
I like that one.
All right. Final green. Final thoughts. Christian Nazanis.
I'm going to start this one off by apologizing to Alan about my comment about Jack earlier. Felt bad about that. So your shoulder turn is a lot larger and longer than Jack. Okay. Just wanted to clarify that.
For wellness.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to, it was a great Masters. I congrats again to Rory. I'll be on the grounds in a few weeks at the PGA, so I'm excited for that. And just going to hope for another great finish. Hopefully not as a crazy of a finish at the PGA in a few weeks, but yeah, congrats again to Rory and his team for getting the job done.
Andy?
So this was my second favorite Masters of all time. I think 86 with Jack will never be surpassed for me personally, but this was so great, and I personally couldn't have been more happy that Rory won. On the other hand, our recent rising popular star Bryson went back to tool status at the microphone after his round, and I'm not even talking about where he mentioned that Rory didn't talk to him. He started talking about how his equipment was wrong and he couldn't wait to change his equipment. Like, really, dude? I mean, are you never going to take responsibility that you made bad swings and hit bad shots? You're going to sit here and tell me that it's all a technical thing about your equipment that was wrong? It's again, the thing that people don't like about Bryson, and I think it's pretty lame.
We really didn't dive into how his final round performance, but maybe we'll wait. Maybe we'll wait till next week when BE gets back and joins us. Bobby, what do you got?
Yeah, it's remarkable, that Masters tournament. I think it is something special that it's that same event at the same venue, Andy, year after year after year. Obviously, 89 years, and I think they had a neat little thing Jim Nantz talked about. Rory was born in 1989, and now he wins the 89th. Masters, and it just, I've been there in a few capacity as a patron, as a working person with dry chip and putt, and the place is unlike anything really in the world, anything I've experienced, and it's really neat when you can see history happen. I was hoping Rory would win. It's neat when you can see history occur, and to get the 4 majors, it's almost like, can you just play 4 majors a year? They're so memorable. I'm like Andy, other than 86, I think this is my favorite Masters right here. And then also quick, we talk about Augusta and how they're so good at remembering things and honoring people. And it was really, really nice. Obviously, for us, our friend Jeff Babineau, who had passed away last December, they did a really beautiful remembrance of him, and also Steve DeMeglio, another esteemed golf writer. So, they just don't miss a beat at Augusta. It's really a beautiful thing.
And mine's actually about how golf, and specifically this event, the Masters, transcends sports. I don't know if you guys saw on social, J.J. Watt was actually there and then actually played Augusta National from the members teams. Well, a very respectable 104, I think, or 103 that he shot. So, JJ, if you'd like to come on, we'd love to talk to you about your round. But the one that really caught my eye, Ken Griffey Jr. I don't know if you guys saw this on. You need to Google it. Ken Griffey Jr. has taken up photography.
Yeah,
and it was inside the ropes. You ought to see some of the pictures that he captured. They're really freaking good. I'm not going to lie to you. So golf transcends sports across all people, all generations, all ages, even the young and inexperienced golfers like Christian. Until next week.
You only have one opportunity to sell your golf property. Shouldn't you partner with an expert that offers you 30 plus years of golf industry experience combined with the reach of a global leader in real estate? Colliers International Golf Brokerage and Advisory Services understands your unique business needs. Whether it is brokerage, management, and consulting, be reassured that the market leader in the business of golf is providing you the real answers and practical solutions you deserve. Contact Golf Talk Live co-host and Colliers Golf Advisory Services member Alan Depew today at 717-554-8519. That's 717-554-8519.